YouTube found a community, AC/DC fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens. We're here today to talk about AC/DC's latest album, Power Up. And this is in fact the Target box set version, which comes with a t-shirt, which I would show you, but it's in the wash. So until then, I'll hold the box and I'll take the record out and show you what that looks like. But I am so stoked to be reviewing this thing. And as I'm filming this is months ago. You're seeing this in 2021. It's projected to be a #1 album basically across the globe for these guys, and deservedly so. And for me, and for a lot of other people, this has been one of the better parts of 2020. Finally, something familiar, something very much welcomed, and really an incredible modern classic from AC/DC. It's their best album in a very long time. I've been following them since Stiff Upper Lip came out in 2000, and I liked that album at the time, but I was always a little bit kind of like wanting more. Black Ice I thought was fantastic. Rock or Bust came out, and for me, that one just sounded a little bit tired. And I use that term loosely when talking about AC/DC, but it just didn't have the same like impact. A few of the songs really do. Rock or Bust, the title track, I think is great. And there's a handful of other ones on there I really think are awesome too, but cohesively as a whole, I felt like Black Ice had a little bit more to offer. Tragically, in 2017, Malcolm Young passed away fighting a battle against dementia, and no one thought the band would continue after that. What's AC/DC without Malcolm Young? I mean, Malcolm is AC/DC. He made the band. Obviously, the other guys are there too, but it's his baby. And the Rock or Bust tour really solidified the end of the group. By the end of the tour, Cliff Williams said, you know what, I'm going to retire. AC/DC is a whole different game at this point. I don't want to be here. Brian had to leave because of his hearing problems. He was told if he plays one more show, he'll lose his hearing forever. So he was out. Phil was out because he got convicted of hire for murder and drugs, and he was going through a really hard time. And they brought in Axl Rose to sing with them. Stevie Young came back to play guitar to fill in for Malcolm. And they brought back Chris Slade from the Razor's Edge era and Big Gun. So the group, when you look at pictures of, or live videos of them in 2016, you're like, who am I watching here? What is this AC/DC tribute group I'm watching? They did some great shows, so they finished the tour. They played some really random tracks that they haven't played in for a long time with Axl Rose singing, so that's kind of cool. But anyways, we all thought AC/DC was done. A couple years later, pictures of them surface out in Vancouver at a recording studio with Brian. Oh, there's Stevie. Oh, there's Phil. This is weird, because Phil had cleaned up his act at this point. And that was the first sign. And then finally in 2020, we got the first actual taste of what was going to happen when Shot in the Dark came out. And that song, and then seeing that video a few weeks later, all the guys together again was like, wow. I mean, we haven't seen something like this in quite some time. So it felt good to see that. And this album, I've been spinning like crazy. I absolutely love this record. It's one of the best things they've done in a very long time, because they knew they had something to prove. The riffs on this thing are riffs that Angus and Malcolm have had for 20 years, stuff that's been hanging around for the last 20 years. In the early 2000s, I remember reading this somewhere, Malcolm and Angus got together at one point and just like wrote a bunch of riffs and wrote a bunch of songs, and they had picked and choose what they wanted for their albums. So they've had a lot of stuff hanging around for a long time. And everybody got better. Brian was able to get this great technology so he can hear things again. They did rehearsals. He was able to hear everybody and he was safe. Cliff was excited to be there again. Stevie is a knockout stand-in for Mal. And then Phil on the drums is how AC/DC is supposed to sound. I love Chris and Simon, but Phil is where it's at. So they came back and they had a mission statement. They had something to prove. And as it's written on this album, this one is for Mal. And they really proved it. They came back hungry and youthful, and they don't sound like they're in their late 60s, early 70s. This is a group of guys that sound like they're still in their 30s, and we're all the better for it. So, long intro out of the way. We open up with Realize. In that first line, we realize these moments just pass you by. that's a great way to start the album. Kind of realizing like, wow, just how fast life can go by. And there, there are moments lyrically on here that will be pretty deep that you wouldn't really expect from an AC/DC record, but losing such an incredible member of the group and their family member, losing Malcolm, there's moments on here that definitely have bits of loss on this album. Just as much as Back in Black was for Bon, this is for Malcolm. But this song, that the classic background vocals, Phil's groove, the lead guitar riffs kind of buried underneath everything, they just sound so youthful and ready to show off, and they do it. It's a great opener. Rejection follows that song, and I love the hammering intro on this, and Brian's vocal, the gang vocals on this thing. And that for me is a big seller of this album, is how much gang vocal is on this thing, where I haven't felt like there's been a lot of that in the last handful of albums, but it sounds very much like early 80s, late 70s stuff from these guys with this, all the vocals going on here. Just a fun sing-along, charged up chorus on this one. Then you get the single, Shot in the Dark. And I'm glad this was the first single because that intro riff, the way the drums and everything kick in just in the right spots, total AC/DC. It's straight up rock and roll. The clarity on Phil's hi-hat, the production that Brendan O'Brien did here, right? Brendan O'Brien? Yeah, the production he did on this thing is just fantastic. He's been with them for a few albums now too, but straight up rock and roll. I mean, I love how Cliff's bass is super audible. The production is just top notch. The classic background vocals, Shot in the Dark. I mean, it's, Brian on top of it all. It's classic AC/DC. What more do you want? Through the mists of time, as I'm making this video, I really hope this becomes a single. So hopefully by the time this video comes out, it will have been a single. I never thought I'd say this about an AC/DC song because it's rare that they do this, but it's almost wistful because it's like sort of nostalgic and looking back and thinking about times gone by. Something they don't normally sing about, but they do it so well. It's a very effective song here. Brian's voice is like perfectly matched with just the right amount of emotion here. And the palm muting on the guitar, the overall presentation just feels heavy and it feels a little sad at times, but also a little bit joyous. That solo on here is the cherry on top. It's really hearing these guys at this stage in their career, this is like their 17th album, for them to sound so young and so hungry for making great rock and roll music and making a song that's a little bit about changes, they nail it. Kick You When You're Down, this song is so cool. It opens with this tension-filled scream from Brian and then goes into this riff rock thing. And I love the use of empty space on this one and all the guys singing along, I wanna kick you when you're down. It's so good. Oh no! Like, it's just classic shake your foundations AC/DC. Witch's Spell. Love the For Those About to Rock style guitar picking on this one. A little bit of a loose rocker, but that chorus is so catchy. Witch's Spell! So good. This is going to be great in concert if concerts ever come back. This song will be great for that. Demon Fire, Brian's evil voice. I love when he does that bluesy, deep, evil voice thing. This is a fierce battle cry of a riff. There's so much going on here. I love the way it changes. It's a menacing song that commands your attention. The way it just skyrockets into the chorus when those drums kick in, awesome. Wild Reputation follows with a bass intro. Hey, there's Cliff. The drums come in. Brian keeps things cool and confident with that vocal on top. Super catchy song. No Man's Land. This has more of a sludgy or heavy kind of rhythm to this one. But those cool guitar lines add some tension as well. Not my favorite on the album, but a decent song. Systems Down has a little bit of that touch too much kind of feel on the intro, which I like. And I like how the song builds, adding the instruments as it goes along. But it's also got more of those descending riffs in the chorus, which if you've watched my videos for a long time, I'm a total sucker for. So classic puncher in the verses. Then the last two songs on here, Money Shot, this is where it picks back up again for me. Brian's vocals are awesome. When he talks in that bluesy, evil voice, I love when he kind of just does different parts where he sings, then he talks a bit, then he ad-libs. Classic Brian. More gang vocals, the solo rules, the song's over. And then Code Red, this is an absolute, this song I'm calling it right now, Code Red will become an AC/DC classic. This is something they're going to be proud of just as much as For Those About to Rock and Back in Black and Highway to Hell, Dirty Deeds, TNT. They're all going to be up there just as much as this one. More of those slinky riffs, the cool changes, Brian's fast-paced vocal. This track punches your speakers. It's a total head bobber the whole way through. And that sing-along chorus is a call to arms through and through. This is going to be so fun in concert, having 50,000 people sing these lyrics back to them, and it will happen. That song is going to be an absolute knockout live. But here's a close-up of the box. It says limited edition, vinyl LP, and exclusive AC/DC t-shirt, large. And the back cover just has the guys standing there, which I love seeing them on the back cover. This cover, the first time I saw this cover, I was kind of like, eh. And then when I saw it in person, I was like, whoa. It just completely struck me. Like, I got it at that point. Seeing it on the shelf was just, then I got it. It made more sense. And then being able to hold the record, being able to hold a new AC/DC record during the year we've had, this is awesome. So if you're watching this, obviously in 2021, I filmed this many moons ago. So cool. Look at that gatefold. The guys all blending into each other there. The back cover again with the songs at the bottom. And let me show you the inside. Pictures of the guys at the video shoot for Shot in the Dark. And yeah, right in the middle it says this one is for Mal. On the back you got the back of an amp. Kind of like the back cover of Who Are You? With everything plugged into it. And this one is just the standard black vinyl. But the labels, man. Look at that. Freaking Angus doing his thing. I love how they've used this so much for the promotion. That's such a classic shot. Classic shot. And then side B has the lightning bolt on its own. That's exactly what the CD looks like too. So yeah, there's a lot of versions of this thing. There's this one from Walmart, or from Target. There's also a Walmart copy, which comes on red vinyl. There's also a CD box set that comes with a button you press, and then it plays Shot in the Dark, and the lights light up in the front of the box. There's this one. There's a Target CD that comes with stickers. This is the standard album. There's a yellow vinyl version from their website. There's a picture disc. There's a cassette tape. I mean, if you want Power Up on multiple versions, you'll be paying up as well. But hands down, one of the best albums I've heard in a very long time. I absolutely adore this thing. For me, it's a straight up 8 or 9 out of 10. I probably would have taken off 2 songs and made it a solid 10-track album to really kind of rein it in a little bit more. No Man's Land and Systems Down were the 2 I would take off. They're good songs, but they just a little bit kill the flow. Again, just my personal tiny opinion on the internet, but that's it. My name is Giggens. For those about to rock, we salute you. AC/DC, Power Up, 8 or 9 out of 10. Love this thing. Pick it up if you haven't heard it. You will very much enjoy every second of this thing. And that's it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.